Good morning, everyone. It's Mish here, or good afternoon or evening. It's morning here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Thank you for joining me today. Whether you're new or returning, I really appreciate you. And for those of you who keep returning and supporting me and giving me encouraging comments, I really do appreciate that. Today we're going to be doing another page in the Daphne's Diary Gluebook journal. I started this just over a year ago, and it is getting quite full. I'll soon be thinking about binding in the pages and making a closure and maybe decorating the outside a little bit. But for today, I thought we would do just another page. Towards the end, when this becomes more finished, I will do a flip through of all the pages. But for today, I'm just going to find a place where we don't have any. I need a 2-page spread, so that might work. Yeah, so I think I might, although that's a difference here, I think I'll use this section here because I'm going to do kind of a spread across the page. I am going to use the images from number 3, 2024. I finally did get it. This is May, and there's some a lot of stuff here that I think I can do some projects with, so I'm really happy about that. But today in the insert was this lovely image. It's just so pretty that I have to include it. Also in this book was a little extra, and it's called a friendship book. And in the book, you're supposed to put your friend's photo, their name and address, and you could give it to your friend and ask your friend to write a little note, kind of like a modern autograph book. I remember when I was, I think 11 or 12, I had my first autograph book, and I just ran around to my teachers at school and my grandparents, and I'm so happy that I did because I still have some of the writings that my grandparents wrote and my mom, who are no longer with me, and it's just a nice little memory. So you can just fill out the information, and here it is, how we know each other, and just get your friend to write something there. But I thought what I would do with this is, I'm thinking that I will put down a background that spreads across the 2 pages. Now this isn't a center, but that's fine. So I'll put down a background page, and then I'm going to put this as a pocket that I can put some journal cards. And I'm just going to I think I'll make some journal cards out of this book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away, going to find some background paper, going to figure out what I'm going to do with this, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. It's hours later, so I kind of forget what I said in the intro. But since then, I have found some pattern paper. This was just from my paper pads that I had, and I liked the color in this one. The only issue that I had is that the 2 pages aren't square to each other. So I'll show you when I cut this bit off. There's a little bit of a gap at the top and the bottom. So let me get it straight up, right way up. So there's a little bit here that you can see, but you can see there's a little bit of a gap there. And on this side, there's hardly any. And then at the bottom, there is just a wee little bit. I thought about cutting it, but then it might affect that side. So what I thought I would do is just put down some scrap paper. So this piece of border actually came out of issue 3 of last year. So there was a little kind of border strip there. And so I'm going to do that. So I need to cut this. I just want to cut a wee little strip, and I think my blade is getting very dull. But the other thing I want to use is this washi tape. And this washi tape, I believe, came out of issue 4 of last year. I happen to have an extra copy of those. So that is a good thing. But I only need a wee little strip. So the washi tape itself is about 3/4 of an inch. But I'm just wondering if that's a bit too much. So if I go 3/4 of an inch and then put my thing down, yeah, it might work. The other thing I could use is just my own, like I have a stash of washi tape. I'm thinking though that I might go 1/2 inch. But once I cut it, there's no going back. I'm just going to stick with the 3/4. So I just want to make this one here the same width. And I'm just going to cut it on my trimmer just so that I get the same, so it's the same width, so it doesn't look kind of funny. So I'm just going to line that up at the 3/4 on that side. And because this is very flimsy, I'm just going to tack that down, if I get the right way, with some Post-it. Some Post-its just to keep it kind of in line. And then I'm just gonna, so that should be about 3/4 of an inch. And that's about the same width as the washi. Okay. So I'm just gonna tack this down. I wanted maybe this piece to go at the bottom because I liked how the colors. So I'm just gonna glue that down. I'm just gonna use a little bit of Elmer's glue. The problem with using a water-based glue is it can warp the paper, but I'm not really putting, this is a kind of a micro tip, so I'm not really putting a lot of glue on there. And the thing with using a glue at this point is I can then adjust my paper if I need to. And I want to make sure it's going right to the end. And then getting that down. So after I talked to you earlier, I had some errands to do. And it's Sunday here. It's a long weekend here. So I'm filming this, well, a couple weeks ahead really, I guess. I have one to come out this Friday. So because I've got a few ideas now, I'm going to try to get a video out each Friday like I used to do. I only kind of stopped that after Christmas because it was just, I didn't have a lot of ideas from sort of the first issue this year. So, but I'm going to try to well, I'm going to try to do quite a few Fridays. If one doesn't get put out, I'll definitely have one for the next Friday. But right now is, I think it's May the 18th. So I have one to go out this Friday coming. And then this will come out the next Friday. Let me see here. Okay, so I kind of like that. I like how that little border's looking there. So then I need one for the top. And I was thinking for the top bit, I liked this one here. It kind of went with my colors. So I'm not sure how sticky this washi tape is, but we shall see. Because if I take it all off at once, it's probably going to end up sticking to itself. So let me try this. But yeah, so it's a long weekend here. This is a Victoria Day weekend. And I happen to be off, which I'm very happy about. So I've got Sunday, Monday's the actual holiday. So I have that off, which is tomorrow. Today's Sunday. But I had a bunch of stuff to do. Some running around, as you always do. So I was watching Debbie over at My Vagabond Style. I was watching her Marguerite Miller collage. And she inspired me to go to the thrift store and look for some magazines. So that was sort of my... I might have to trim that little piece right there because it's crooked, and I can't make that straight. So here goes nothing. Okay. To go to the thrift store. So I went off to the thrift store and I found a couple of treasures. One treasure I found is that I've been really into the language of flowers. So I've been reading a couple of books. The Frampton Flora I got the other day, and I was reading that. Another one, Fanny Robinson. She did a memory book type thing back in, I think it was the 1800s. So I was reading up on that. Well, didn't I go find a book on the language of flowers? So I was just so happy. And then I found a magazine, and I forget the title. I think it's something like Where She Creates or something. But it was from 2013, but it was still pretty good. All right, I'm chatting too much. Okay, so I've got those borders done. I'm quite happy with that. So for this bit here, I've already put some tape, and I'm going to make like a side tuck with this. So I think I will do one side first, and I want to do the left-hand side. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this off. I had to use two pieces. I ran out of my initial roll. I love this score tape. The thing I like the most about the score tape is when it sticks, it sticks. Okay, so I want to try to get this pretty even and right in the crease. I gotta hold my breath to do this. So right about there, I think is even. I'm looking at the little stripes, top and bottom. So I think that's about even. So I'll press that in there. And then I'll pull this piece off here and get that pressed down. Okay, so now that I've got it tacked on that side, I'm good to go with that on that bit there. Now I did round the corners on this one here, so I rounded the top there, but then I decided that I'm going to do a little bit of lace on the edge, so it's really not going to matter whether it's rounded or not. Okay, so we've got that pressed down, and I'm quite happy with that because the book will close fine, and then it'll open fine. So I think that is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So then I found just some cardstock. I'll put that aside for a second. And it was just some green cardstock that I had, which I kind of thought matched a little bit as best I could. And I cut the piece roughly 5 3/16 by 5 15/16, so almost 6. And I thought that might work, but it might not. It might be too big, which is okay with me because I might have to cut down the card. I already did. I mean, I'm okay if it sticks out a little bit, but that's a lot. But I wanted that to stick well there. Okay, well, let's see. So I have realistically enough space for about 4 3/4. And then I've already taken my little book and cut some pages out, but they're too big. So what did I say I wanted? I wanted about 4 1/2, I guess. And the only reason I'm using that piece of card is because if I want to write on that, I want it to be, I could go 4 3/4, but maybe 4 5/8, and I'll forget that, so I'm just going to write that down. 4 5/8. Okay, so my card here is 5. So if I want to cut it down, I don't want to cut too much of the little sheep, but I need to take off a good 1/4 inch. So let me get my trimmer back out. And I'll have to just trim off a little bit on this side. And then if I go 4 5/8, it would take me to taking that pen, which I don't want to do that. So let's just say 4 3/4. Let's make it work. Yeah, that'll work. It'll hang out some, but I'm okay with that. I could take off a little bit more of the sheep on this side. And just a bit more of that pen side. So, yeah, so I think that's good there. So that ended up being right about 4 5/8. Okay. So let's just say perfect. And then this is just short of 6. So that should fit. Oh, a little bit bigger. I really love this trimmer because it has a little wire guide where you can kind of see where you're cutting. All right, so on the back side of the card, I wanted to put this little one. So I'm going to need, again, to go down to about 4 5/8, which is fine with that one. Okay, so that'll work. There's just not much of a border, but that's okay. But I do like it on this cardstock because it makes it just a little bit firmer. So I had already done one up already, which I'm going to have to trim down. So let's just take that off. And then take that off. I can't really do that much. Let me see. Let's take off as much as I can on that side without the words. And this one's just going to have to be a tad bit bigger, but that's okay. And then it's a little bit shorter, so we'll just cut off the bit of green there. Okay, so we got our little journal cards. I did want to just round the edges, which is going to be a bit harder with all that bulk there. But I could always just use a crocodile. All right, there we go. Okay, so then we've got one journal card. It can go in there. And if you don't like it sticking out, which doesn't bother me, then you can just try make them smaller. Okay, and I wanted to get the sheep on the other side, and there's a side little picture frame on the other side where you can put your friend's picture in there. I thought this was like a great little way to put a couple of your besties and get them to write a little note to you on this little page here, or just on the side here where it says, how do you know that person? Looking back, you know, a few years or years to come, you might love that little note. Okay. So for this one here, I'm going to use the crocodile because it has a better, it's made more for thicker paper. Okay, and I'm going to use the half. Okay, and then I thought I would just go along and do a little bit of embellishing. That's so cute. So I did get some lace. I thought I had got this at the dollar store, but I didn't. I got it at the fabric store. But I think you can get stuff like this at the dollar store. I am just going to use a little bit of Fabri-Tac, and I do have a little bit of deli paper, just so that I don't get it on the journal card or the background. And I could actually, I was going to do it with the thing facing in, but I think I'll do it with the thing facing it, with the lace points facing out, because then it gives me a little bit more on the outside where you wouldn't see as much of the journal card. Oops. Everything's falling all over the place. Okay, so we got that one down. And then I'm just going to do the same with my deli paper here. So something was eating my lilies. So I did a little Google search of what eats lilies, and there's a lily beetle. But I kept thinking to myself, well, I've not seen any beetles. So, but I didn't look at a picture of it. I just went out to the yard. Well, sure enough, there were these flaming red beetles on my lilies that I picked off and squashed because the leaves, they were just munching. So there was probably about 10 maybe. So then I came in and I looked on Google to see what a picture of one of them looked like, and sure enough, it was what was in my garden. So it also said just to get them before they start to lay eggs and have larvae. So I went and looked at the leaves, and there was no larvae yet. So I think hopefully I'm winning. I just have to keep an eye on them. Okay, so we've got that, and then I just wanted to do a little bit of embellishing. And I'm going back to these little metallic butterflies I got from Stampin' Up. I absolutely love these. I think I only have this one package of them. And I don't know if they still sell them or not. But I'm going to go have a look because I think they're just so sweet. And when you put them onto something like this, and then you turn the page, they just glitter. They just pick up the light. So I'm happy with that. So I thought I'd put a couple of those. And then at Michael's, at Christmas time, they had these kits of Christmas, kind of like a scrapbook type. I had another one of these, is what I'm looking for. A scrapbook kind of kit, I guess, where it had the backgrounds, and then it gave you the little gems, and this was one of the packs that was in that. So I kind of thought, in going with the kind of like the bling gold theme, that I would just put a couple of these at random around that would pick up the light a little bit. So I think that would just be really nice because it kind of shimmers. So I was happy with that. There were some white ones though, and I don't know if they fell down or where those ones went. Because I was kind of thinking I'd put ones in the, excuse my head if my head's in the way. Oh, here they are, stuck on the side. I kind of thought I would put ones in the center of a couple of these flowers, like this one here. And then you can see the yellow come out around it. So I like how those really shimmer. They have a good shimmer. Oh, you can even see them picking it up. They're even better in person. And then I had these, just these little beads. My arthritis is so bad right now because I've been trying to do stuff in the garden. Oh gosh, I almost fell off the step too earlier when I went out. I had stuff in my hands to go to the compost bin, and I went to step and there was nothing there, and I thought, oh no, and I had that sort of black feeling. I don't know if you've ever fallen, but it just came over me like, oh gosh, this isn't going to end well. But I managed to recover, thank God. Okay, he was looking out for me. So I just want to put these little, these are honeybee ones. And I got those at the local craft store, My Stampin' Studio. I say it's local, but it's about a 50-minute drive or so, which I do every few months. I'll go down and see Kelly and pick up some stuff. I don't have time or really money to do it more often. But then, you know, sometimes I just say to myself, I have everything I need. I think I was watching Susan, I think it was Susan Gasaway on her, doing her Marguerite Miller collage. And she said something about a stamping item and how sometimes as crafters we just have to have something. And it's so true. It's like I have a room full of stuff, but then I see something and it's like, oh gosh, I have to have it. Now I don't usually go out and buy it, but it goes on to my little list and I start working down the list when I have a little bit of extra money. Okay, and then I kind of like these little, I just wanted a little something in the little pink flowers. Should we go with the white? These are cute. You can see, I've done this before, but these are all white, but you can just kind of see that I've colored these ones here in pink and those in red. So if you only can afford one thing, get something you can modify. You can paint or color. So then it gives you more options. Oh, I like that too. The little white shows up there. And I want maybe this size to go in that little pink one. Why not embellish? That's what life's all about. That is so pretty. And then of course I have to have one there because he'll just get upset. And I think maybe I'll go with a gem. I really love the pearls. I think they just add a sense of richness. But sometimes a little bling bling is nice. My mother loved bling bling. I get that from her. Okay, so that's looking good. I just kind of want to go back to the yellow and maybe a little darker yellow one to go in there. Okay, I could keep going all night with that. So that's that. And then I did want to just do a little bit either stickles, although I think I've got enough blingy bling, but I have to get out Stella. I can get her out of here because I just love Stella. Here, Stella. Wink of Stella is one of my favorite things. I hope they always keep making it because it's just so subtle, but it really does make things pop. And it's so hard to pick up on camera. But it's, oh look, I forgot one. Oh well. So there. We have our little side pockets. We have some little journal cards that we can get our friends to write us a little message on the front and back. I love the little sheep there. I think I'll put the sheep on this side because then they can poke out. You can see his little sleepy eyes. And then I'll put that out so that's hanging out. Awesome. Okay, well, I think I've gotten everything. If you liked the video, I'd love for you to give me a like. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe. And until we meet again, I hope you stay safe and well, and bye for now.